Hi, happy Tuesday. Today we're going to go over our sight words again, and I have a fun story to read to you called How Cold Was It? It's been really cold, hasn't it? But first we're going to go over some sight words. So you have your trace and write sight word page for today. So make sure you write each word or trace it and then write it on the line below, and make sure that you're spelling it and you're reading it. And if you don't know what the word is, ask someone to tell you. Okay? I want you to practice those in your sight cards, but we're going to go through all the actions again today. Let's see if we remember those sight words from yesterday. Okay? Let's see if Mrs. Hofer remembers those sight words from yesterday. Okay, so the first one I'm going to show you is, what do you think this one is? S-O-O-N. Soon it will be time. Soon it will be time to read our story. Soon it will be time. Okay, and the word is just soon. All right, our next word. Anyone remember that one? You're going to do the peace sign and say, they are sisters. That's right. They are sisters. T-H-E-Y. They are sisters. Okay, our next one. Remember, we're going to pretend to be driving our car and pressing on the gas pedal. You're going to push the gas, so you're going to go on green. G-O, go on green. Okay, another one. This is another short word, and it's pointing up the stairs. Up the stairs. U-P, up the stairs. Okay, what is this? Do you remember what this is? There's the house, and there's the for sale sign. We're going to hammer it in. For sale. You're hammering in the sign. Okay, and our last one, H-E-R-E. Here it is. Remember, you're pointing to the ground. Here it is, and picking something up. See, here it is, pointing to the ground. This is the word here. H-E-R-E, here. Good job. Okay, so I have a story. Now you keep practicing those. Trace them. It's really important that you learn the 6 new words. But I'm going to read this story to you. Now, yesterday we read a nonfiction book. Remember, that one was facts. The author wrote it to teach us about polar regions. Remember, it was cold in the polar regions, and the animals had to do things to help them stay warm, and the plants grew there, but they weren't very big plants, were they? So this one is called How Cold Was It? And it was written by Jane Barclay, and it was illustrated by Janice Donato. So the illustrator is the one who drew the pictures, and the author is the one who wrote the words. And when we're done, we are going to think about ways that this book reminds us of something about us. Okay? How cold was it? This is the title page. So it just has the title again from the outside. When I woke up this morning, it was very cold. How cold was it? It was freezing, sneezing, goosebumpy, teeth chattering, can't get out of bed, blankets over my head, kind of cold. Do you notice that some of the words are darker than the other words? The author does that so that we know it's really cold. Those words are talking about how cold it is. Outside, little brown birds huddled at the top of my neighbor's chimney, trying to keep warm. I stay in bed and listen to the wind whistle past. I watched as it shook the gray bones of the trees, and during the night an ice fairy had sneaked through the crack in the window and sketched magical picture of silvery leaves on the glass. Do you see that on the glass? Does your windows ever get like that when it gets really cold? Probably your car windows for sure, right? And sometimes your house windows. In the kitchen, porridge bubbled, coffee dripped, and my cat threaded her way between my shins. Meow, meow, she cried. It's too cold to go out, cat, I said. How cold was it? It was howling, meowing, fur ruffling, paw shaking, whiskers in the breeze. Let me in, please, kind of cold. So the boy didn't want to go out because it was too cold, but he let the cat out, and then the cat came right back and said, let me in. And see, all those words that were telling us how cold it was, they're really dark. So the author really wants us, to notice those words. I sat at the table, poured milk on my cereal, and sprinkled brown sugar on top. Out on the porch, the wind whipped the snow into tiny white drifts, like meringue on a big frozen pie. Underneath the fir tree, I spied a fat black squirrel, trembling as it searched for buried seeds. Boy, it looks cold out there, doesn't it? I could hear my dad trying to start the car. He came in the front door, stamping the snow from his boots. Man, it's cold out there, he said. How cold was it? It was car wheezing, engine seizing, snow shoveling, ice scraping, temperature falling, taxi calling kind of cold. Now, taxi is somebody you call. It's a car. They take you places and you pay for it. So when his car wouldn't start, he had to call a taxi to come get them. Sometimes cars don't want to start when it's cold outside. It was time to go to school. I put on my snowsuit, hats, boots, and mitts, and then my mom wound a long scarf around my face. I trudged down the sidewalk, boots crunching in the snow. Steam rose from between the metal teeth of the sewer grate. And I imagined a snow dragon awakened by the bitter cold. I broke some icicles from a fence and stuffed them down the grate. Frozen food for a hungry dragon. So here's the sewer grate that he's talking about. Have you ever seen one of those outside? Sometimes in the winter, it'll be steam coming out of there because it's warmer down there than it is up top. In the schoolyard, the swings rattled and snow hissed down the slide. The wind bullied me past the rink, where snow devils chased each other in an endless game of tag. And inside we sat at our desks and the teacher said, My, it's cold out there. How cold was it? It was ear-ringing, cheek-stinging, wet, tears, dry, cough, feet are froze, so is my nose kind of cold. Have you ever been that cold before? I have. Sometimes when I walk out in the cold weather, it makes my eyes just start watering like I'm crying. We went to art class and cut out giant snowflakes and hung them up with the string. In story time, we read a book about Arctic explorers, and during math, we filled our thermometer charts and learned all about minus. Because when it's really cold, we can get into the minus degrees. Look at that, they made snowflakes. When the last bell rang, I braced myself for the walk home. I pulled my hat down over my ears, scrunched up my shoulders, and opened the door. The cold pounced on me and licked at my face. I ran past the rink at the playground, my breath escaping in foggy clouds. I stopped at the sewer grate and peered into its frosty mouth. Hello down there, I called to the snow dragon, and then I hurried up the street. When I finally made it home, my mom said, Goodness, you look cold. How cold was it? It was hat grabbing, scarf nabbing, nose running, lip quivering, both ears are red, numb from my toe to head, kind of cold. When I finished my snack, my mom asked me to get some bread from the freezer for supper. Chills crept up my body as I headed down the cold basement stairs. I dashed across the icy floor and yanked open the freezer door. A blast of frigid air shot up my sleeves. I grabbed the bread and raced upstairs, the cold snapping at my heels. Sometimes basements are even cold, right? He was like, I want to hurry up and get upstairs where it's warm. Late that night, I lay under my blankets and listened as the spine of my house cracked and popped, and I watched the stars shivering in the dark sky and thought of the snow dragon asleep in its cold winter bed. But my bed was nice and warm. How warm was it? It was snug as a bug, big hug, wool socks, 2 quilts, fireplace heat, cat at my feet, kind of warm. Nothing feels better than to get into a warm bed, right? Okay, so this story was about a boy and in the winter time, right? And today we're going to talk a little bit about something called text, which a text is the book or the story to self, and the self is yourself or me, because I'm myself, and making a connection. So you're trying to think, well, how did this remind me of something that's happened to me, or how can I connect to the story? So if you want, you can work on this paper with it. It says the part in the story. So here's the storybook. So that, is the text. And then this part in the story reminds me of the time, and then you draw what it reminded you of. Okay. So in the story, or you could write it too, but I remembered seeing the part where the cat went outside. So the boy was standing, I don't know if you can see that, but the boy was standing inside and the cat was standing outside, and the cat was going, meow, I want in. So when I saw that part of the story, that reminded me of our dog Huck. And when he goes outside, he comes back really fast too, and he stands there. I don't have a dog actually, or a cat. I don't actually have a dog either. My daughter does, and so the dog is at her house. But I don't really know. So instead of a cat, it reminded me of our dog that always stands at the window when it's really cold out and wants to come back in. So was there something in the story that reminded you of something that happened to you? So let's think about a few other things. Let's go through the book and see. Maybe it reminded you when the boy didn't want to get out of bed. It reminded you when you don't want to get out of bed because it's cold. Or maybe you also will remember a time when you saw the frost on the windows. The one that I also really made me remind me of something was the time that we just made snowflakes in class, and they made snowflakes in their class. So books sometimes remind us of things that have happened to us. So they're fun to read, right? Okay, I will see you tomorrow. But guess what, boys and girls? Tomorrow is a big special day at school. We have been in school for 99 days today. Does anyone know what day comes after day 99? That's right, it's day 100. So that is a big special day. So tomorrow I'm going to read you a book about 100 of something, and you can celebrate 100th day at home. Okay, I'll see you tomorrow.